everybody. Hello, hello, hello. I know I'm a minute late. I'm sorry. Somebody out there let me know that you guys can hear me.
I can
Why?
hear you.
Okay, and I'm not frozen. I look okay. We're good.
You look beautiful.
Okay, I have bad news. Right before I went to come live today, I got a message from Arlene. Our Arlene has no power, no Wi Fi, and is in the middle of the fire zone with her mama. So fingers crossed and lots of prayers sent her way, you guys. It doesn't look like fun. Okay? So, who? Anybody else that's facing, yeah, it hits me in the heartstrings when it's one of us. You know what I mean? Um, if there's anybody else that's facing any of the evacuation orders, if you guys need help, reach out to me. Sometimes I may be in another city, but I have a whole army of people that are nearby and able to help assist. Okay, so just know that as a fact. I may not be right there, but sometimes I have great ideas and I'm able to help. So if you're in the fire area and you need assistance, you need help, you need directions, you need somebody to cry to, call me. I gotcha. Yeah, yeah. It's heart-wrenching. It's heart-wrenching. I lived in Big Bear for a while, so I'm familiar with running from fire. Who else do we have? I heard somebody out there trying to say something. Maybe. All right. Today we're going to talk about disaster preparedness. Why? Because it can happen as quick as the wind blows. Okay. In the event you have property in the line of fire and your tenant calls you in full panic mode. Okay. You are the voice of reason. You are the voice of sound. You are the calm one. Thank you for letting us know. Please take care of you and your family. Secure your property the best you can and just take care of you. Make sure you and your loved ones are safe. That's all we can reassure them. We have insurance, you guys. If they have renter's insurance, reassure them that they have renter's insurance. That protects them wherever they go for their personal belongings. It's exactly what they need. If they have renter's insurance and they're being evacuated, they need to call their insurance carrier. Their insurance carrier that's going to tell them, yes, book a hotel, send us the invoice, will reimburse you minus your deductible. And I'm telling you right now, you guys, if you have somebody affected by the fire and they have renter's insurance, do the right thing, pay the deductible for them. It is $50, okay? It is much less expensive than you even putting them up for one night. Okay? Trying to be helpful here. So if you have somebody in the fire, reassure them to make sure that them and their family is okay. People can't be replaced, items can. Okay? So sometimes we need to be the voice of reason and reassure them that it's okay. Things happen. That's why we have insurance. That's why they call them accidents, right? Sometimes they just need a little bit of that reassurance. And if they're reaching out to you to get that, give it to them. Okay, please. They're scared. They don't want to leave your house. No, run for your life. The sky is falling, Chicken Little. I don't know if anybody's ever been evacuated for fire. It's not fun. Um, I lived in Big Bear during the old fires when we got evacuated, and in a weird chain of events, because at the time I was married to a jerk that had some mental issues. So I moved 7 times in 6 days. People are like, what do you mean you moved 7 times in 6 days? Well, he was convinced that everything that we had where we lived was going to burn. It was in the line of fire. So we literally moved out of our house with all of our belongings, except for like our couches and our beds. Everything else went. If we could fit it in, it went. So then we went to his parents' house because we kind of felt safe there. Had to unload all of our stuff into their spare room so we could take the trailer back that we rented. It's 2 moves. Then I had to move it all back out of her house into a trailer and drive it back home, only to be told the mountain wasn't open yet. And I got turned around and sent back down. So I moved into my mom's house and then moved it back into the trailer and then back up into Big Bear. It was ridiculous. It is unnerving. Okay. Literally unnerving having to evacuate from fire. Whether you have 4 hours notice, 4 minutes notice, or 4 days notice, it's not enough time. Okay? Doesn't matter if it's 4 minutes, 4 hours, or 4 days notice, it's still not enough time. You're always going to have that thing you want. Oh, I forgot to grab this. Oh, I forgot to grab that. So have a bug out area, have your important documents in a special place that you can grab them and go. Some things cannot be replaced. And if you're dealing with a loss, it is much easier to have your birth certificate, all of your legal documentation, your insurance policy information, all of that stuff in one spot. So I have this thing called In Case There's a Fire, and I have another one that says In Case I'm Dead. Don't ask, okay? But case of fire, case I'm dead. At least my kids know which one to grab, right? There's instructions. But it's important that you have a plan of action in place, that you can give them a place that they can evacuate to in the event that they need to evacuate. You watch the news, you're listening to that stuff, you're keeping an eye on it because you have a property there. So you're able to filter some of that information and pass that on to them. So don't panic too bad of, don't call me. Don't be that person, okay? Tell them it's okay. Save themselves and their loved ones. And their pets, of course. All right. Anybody have anything they want to talk about today other than the things that can happen with fire and so forth? Because these are things that are out of our control, and that's why we have insurance. And this is a weird time of year to have a fire, but with the winds and the dry air, usually we have too much moisture in the air by this time of year. Fire season usually ends in October, November. Hope that helps. I got a question. Have some of you noticed a high level of static electricity in your own houses? Okay, I'm just asking. Have you noticed a high level of static electricity in your own house? Have you noticed that? Like in the past 6 months, this wasn't a problem a year ago. Okay, I'm just asking. Let me know if you've noticed that. You know, where you're zapping things, electrocuting yourself when you're touching things. I think we're going to see in some environments it's been a huger issue. Yeah, here comes Hilda. And I bet you my Roadrunner girls are going to tell you they have a problem with static electricity in houses. That tells me it's in the more drier climates and not along the beach cities. So, Hilda, if you want to know how to get rid of that, put in a humidifier. Your house is too dry. I learned this yesterday.
Good to know.
Static electricity can be caused by dry air. When you moisturize it, it doesn't do that anymore. What can I say? Patty learns something every day, and I like to share, but it is quite frustrating when you pull up your covers at night and it looks like the 4th of July coming across your legs. All right. Anybody have anything?
Yeah, I kind of have a random question.
Okay.
So I have a tenant with a lease, and I gave him a 30-day notice to change terms of tenancy. Of course, this is in the beautiful city of Los Angeles, special city. And it was to impose that my tenants carry renter's insurance. So I was using, you cannot. Why not? You could give them a 30-day notice to increase their rent. I can't give them a 30-day notice to maintain renter's insurance.
It has to be done at inception for Larso.
Why, Patty? This is why I drink, all right?
Okay. You can
You're not the only one.
You can do it as a change of terms of tenancy. but both parties have to sign and agree to it. And this is me talking to you out loud, okay?
Got it.
Do
Okay.
you think that I'm going to sign and agree to spend $15 a month to make you sleep better at night?
Of course not. No.
Bingo.
Okay.
What do
Bingo.
we do?
You can't buy an insurance policy in someone else's name. You can't. So at this point, um, hold on, because I know you guys can't see me. Well, you can, but you can't. But my head is firing off in like 6 different directions all at once, and I'm overstimulated. So I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you guys could see what's happening in my brain, you would know.
Yeah.
Because part of me is going, Larso, 30-day notice to change of terms. The only thing you can change is what's mutually agreed on. You can't add additional expenses after inception of the lease. You
Got
can't. So I'm going down all these rabbit holes, and I don't mean to freeze up on you guys, but when you get more than one of those throwing back a civil code or a law at me at once, it's overwhelming. And the weird thing is, it's all happening in my own brain. Nobody even is saying a word. so so I know you guys think I'm a weird freak sometimes because I could tell you what a civil code is because I'm pulling it up in my brain and looking at it in my photographic memory. This is one of the downfalls of that gift, if you will, because now it's firing back at me. You can't. And it's just, I can't even grab a hold of a civil code right now. There's so much flowing. So, with that being said, here's how Patty's going to address that. I understand what you're trying to do. I wouldn't attempt to do it. There's too many things firing at me saying, run.
Got
But
it.
what we can do is plan for that better going forward. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay. So when we have a new lease packet come in, we're going to make sure that we have all our T's crossed, all our I's dotted, and we're going to have a second set of I's and even a third set of I's before we sign everything, making sure we have all our ducks in a row.
Okay, so if it wasn't agreed to before they signed it, I cannot give them a 30-day notice to change terms. On the rent, you can because you agree to it, but not renter's insurance because it was implied, not terms of an agreement to occupy the unit.
Okay. Okay. Let's take it a step further. Okay.
Yeah,
Are you now going to ask them to pay your homeowner's insurance?
no,
Let's take it a step further. Are you now going to, but you see how easily that can grow and why they don't allow it?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, no, okay, I get it. Yeah.
Okay. And I'll take it a step further. Oh, you need storage? Well, we don't have storage here. Those fees are an additional expense every month. They're not included in your rent.
Mm.
That's why they're making you disclose fees in your advertising so that we can't do things like that.
Yeah, yeah. No, on my advertisement going forward, I say must carry renter's insurance. Yeah.
There's a lot of things in there. Additional fees may apply.
Yeah.
Always throw that in there, okay? Even if you don't know what the additional fees for. I'm being funny, you guys. I'm being funny, but you understand I'm trying to blanket cover us. And sometimes it's not easy. And I want to tell you there could be a way to do what you're trying to do, but the reality of me says be better next time.
Yeah.
Rather
Yeah.
than trying to undo, because let's say you find a loophole, okay?
Yeah.
And you get this going, and they live there for 10 years, and they pay 10 years of insurance, and there's never a claim. And 15 years from now, you have a problem. And there's some kind of legal issue, and they say, oh, no, the law says you couldn't have done that. You couldn't have charged them for renter's insurance. And now you have to give them all that money back.
Mm.
Okay? Do you understand why I'm telling you to err on the side of caution? The risk isn't worth the reward.
Got it. Okay.
Okay? And that's just me talking to you out loud the way I see things get ruled on in Larso.
Got it. Okay.
And that's what we mean by the devil's cauldron. Okay?
Yeah. Cool. Thank you for that.
No problem. And everybody else is going, yeah, she means LA.
Okay,
Yeah.
so do you wait and do that when you are, upgrading the terms of the agreement since they are now month to month? Do you do it the following year when you're month to month?
You can attempt to, but you're putting yourself at a risk that you may have to refund that at a later date. And it's not a big deal if we're refunding a couple of months worth of something. But if you're starting to refund 10 years worth of something, it gets expensive quickly.
Oh,
Okay. It makes sense? Okay.
Yeah.
It gets expensive for you very quickly. Let me explain, okay? And this is a huge problem in LA County right now. And it is spread like wildfire. So pay attention, especially my managers that manage property for profit. When you're bringing on something new that's got an ADU, okay, or it's a duplex or it's converted, first thing you want to ask for is, when did you get your certificate of occupancy? Okay, remember this, when somebody builds an ADU, the very last thing that they need is a certificate of occupancy. All the utilities are connected, it is up and running, it is fully functioning. But they didn't move that one outlet 2 inches over, and the building inspector wasn't okay with it, so it didn't pass final inspection, and there is no certificate of occupancy. Therefore, it is unfit to live in the eyes of the court. It is uninhabitable. So, what is happening is these owners are doing all this stuff. They're getting everything ready, but we don't have the certificate of occupancy. And we're renting the property out. And 5 years are going by, 10 years are going by. And now the tenant's coming back saying, you never provided me a habitable dwelling. I want all my rent money back for the last 5 years. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Careful, okay? Very careful.
Patty, on that same topic, we are building an ADU in Ontario, doing the whole permit process and everything. But I spoke to the city of Ontario, and they, because I know we had a conversation about the certificate of occupancy, they said that they don't provide that they'll just like check off and make sure that, everything's up to code and
No,
they've
but
signed off.
they have something saying that it's habitable. If they don't
Okay.
have a certificate of occupancy, they're going to provide you something saying that it can be habitable. That is what
Okay.
you need. Same concept, different name.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, I have a question, and
Okay.
I have a house with a pool, and I rented it to a single guy, and he indicated that his kids lived with his wife. They were getting a divorce, I guess. Then he brings his girlfriend in 2 years later, and she had two kids. We have four kids that are all under the age of 10. But they're on the weekends. They're not there, every other weekend, whatever. The pool does, plus they drink, and the only reason I know that is because when I've had to check the property, I see beer cans in the backyard on the ground. Now my concern is the fact that
I want to say something.
what?
Can you guys all just laugh at me really quick? Hell yeah, they drink. They have 4 kids under the age of 10. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I had to. Keep going.
Okay. So the the thing talk about staying up late at night is is supposedly all the kids know how to swim, supposedly, right? There is not a barrier from the slider to the pool.
Single family residence?
Single family residence.
There's not a requirement for there to be one. Are you worried about protecting your asset to the best of your ability?
Absolutely.
Let me tell you what I want you to do, okay? We can't control how other people live. We can't. but we can help protect our asset to the best of our ability. So I would make it a notification that the tenants require liability insurance with $1 million coverage because of the pool. That way, if they have friends come over or something happens, the first $1 million of liability insurance that comes off that property is coming off of their renter policy, not you.
Okay, that isn't you're saying that's something totally different than renter's insurance.
No, it's not. It is renter's insurance, but you want their liability coverage at $1 million because of the pool.
How can I do that when you just said that coming back and having a tenant after they've lived in the property for a while to have renter's insurance?
Hang on. What city is this in?
This is in Bakersfield.
Okay. So, and are they currently on a month to month or on a 1-year term?
Yeah. They're on currently a month to month.
So you could give them a 30-day notice to change of terms of tenancy, letting them know that effective after 30 days, you're requiring them to have liability insurance on the property totaling $1 million because of the liability of the pool. You'd like to be listed as additional insured or interested party on the policy so that you're notified if it's canceled for non-payment. I
Okay.
can't make them do the right thing, but I can make them put up the barriers to help protect you in the interim.
Okay, you can ask a tenant for a liability insurance policy, but you can't ask them to.
What you heard earlier today was in the city of Los Angeles under the thumb of LARSO, LA City Rent Stabilization Organization.
Okay.
Bakersfield, different set of facts. Okay?
Okay. Okay. Right now they do have renter's insurance.
You can ask them to upgrade that policy to have higher brackets of coverage.
Upgrade.
Some people are only have their renter's insurance for $30,000 worth of coverage because that's all they own.
I have a 300,000 on this one. All of them have 300,000.
Right, but
Okay.
you can make them get a more extensive policy because of the liability of the swimming pool, and you don't look like a martyr.
Really? I would think that I
Absolutely.
would look like a martyr.
With a swimming pool, I want $1 million liability on all my properties with a pool. Because I can't control whether my tenants have a big party, get drunk, and one of their friends is going to drown in there. The only way I can protect me is by making sure they have the policy in place to help protect me. That's all I can do.
Okay, so because I originally, when I changed pool companies, I had to change pool companies because the last company was worthless. Anyway, he told me, he said, you need to make them responsible for if, for example, there were goggles floating in the pool one time or at the bottom, whatever. He said, you need to make them responsible so that if those goggles get in the drain and clog the drain up, and then you have to spend $2,000 to dig the drain out because we've got goggles stuck between here and the filtering system, 30 feet, whatever.
I'm sorry, darling. What's your first name? Are you Joanne?
Joanne, yes.
I just want to make sure I'm addressing the right person so I don't sound like somebody uneducated. I'm getting better with this technology stuff, guys. Here's what I can tell you about that, okay? And I'm trying to find the right perception to put this in. I need you to change the rules to cover your asset better because at $300,000 of coverage, you're not protected. That's something I ask for somebody that's renting a 1-bedroom apartment. Okay, when they're renting a house, I want $1 million liability coverage. I want more coverage. I want them to have to pay more, especially if a pool is involved. There's a huge liability that comes with a pool that you lose control over as a landlord once it becomes a rental. And that's what your concern is. They have 4 kids. The adults are drinking. I hear you. We could force them to put in alarms, but they can disconnect them as easy as we can install them. So it's not a
They did.
foolproof.
They did. I had them in there.
Oh,
They
what do
did.
I
I
know?
put them in before he moved in.
Of course you did, because you're trying to help and they don't want them there and they think it's overkill and
They took them out.
and we can't control that. That's what I mean by that. So I could tell you all these things that we could do, but the reality is we just need to prepare for the worst and make sure that we're protected legally from a liability standpoint.
Okay. Okay.
It's the nicest way that I could explain it to you, because we can't control what they do, how many parties they have. We don't even know if they're teaching swimming lessons to the neighbors' kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
So with that said, all we can do is prepare for the absolute worst and do our best to make sure that's in line. Can you give them a 30-day notice of change of terms of tenancy, asking them to upgrade their policy? Absolutely.
Can
Absolutely.
you do it under under the renter insurance, or you do it under a general liability policy?
Well, you're going to tell them that they need to upgrade their renter's insurance for the liability portion, and their agent will tell them the best way to do that. But you want more liability coverage. I mean, let's face it, if something I described were to happen, we want whoever the loss is to go after their insurance before they come after yours.
Right, but it'll be
Patty,
more than a
sorry, one question. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Before I
ahead.
forget, no, it's regarding the renter's insurance. Do you have to ask for a renewal every year? Do they have to renew it every year and give you the renewal of every year?
I ask for the new policy every year, but can I teach you guys all a bigger secret?
Please.
You know how I keep saying be asked as additional insured or interested party? And I keep saying that. Here's why. If your tenants don't pay their insurance and they get a cancellation letter because their policy is going to be canceled, as an interested party, you get the cancellation letter too. So if you get a letter saying your tenant's insurance is going to be canceled for non-payment, that will most likely cause you to serve a 3-day curable breach of covenant notice that they're in violation of their lease by not paying their renter's insurance, right?
How would we find out if we didn't? I'm sorry. How would we find out that they did actually pay it? I don't remember getting anything, and her lease was.
They're only going to report to you bad news, not good news.
Okay.
So if everything's getting paid and it's renewing, they're not going to tell you. They're going to tell you the second it's not getting paid or there's a problem.
Thank you.
The additional insured or interested party acts like a tattletale. Got it? Does that make more sense now? I hope that helped.
It does make, I don't know, can you hear me, Patty? It
Yeah.
does make sense. And I talked to Patty yesterday, so she knows about our wonderful tenant. And one of the wonderful things we had required renter's insurance at inception. Fine, he did that through USAA. I asked for just an updated copy, to make sure he's paying it. He took his sweet time and then he photoshopped us one, which was real special. And we called him on it. And we called USAA and they're like, yeah, he's not current. And then all of a sudden he became current. So look out for that too.
Wonderful. Thank you.
It's kind of like look out for them on their screening, look at their ID, look at the social, look at the federal hold, look at it's just one of those other tools in our caveat that we use. And what you did is exactly what I would have suggested. Once he provided that, if it looked wonky, I would have called the provider and asked them if their policy was current.
Yeah.
With you listed as additional insured or interested party, okay, you can actually file a claim for your tenants. Wait, what? What'd you do? Ha! What'd you say, Patty? Yeah. So you know when your tenant's being a jerk and they're like, "You better pay to put me in a hotel." As additional insured, you can open the claim for your tenant and file the claim to get them in a hotel.
Hmm. What about damage to the unit? Like what we talked about yesterday. The
Sometimes it's hard to get an a tenant's insurance company to cover damage in the unit
Mhm.
while they're still living there. And if you're going through an eviction, that insurance company is going to find a way to deny the claim.
Mm.
Okay. But is it doable? Yeah. It depends on what city you're in, who the insurer is, how educated you are in battling insurance companies. Did you get a restoration company involved? Because that's what I would do.
Mhm.
Was there some kind of a crime involved, like vandalism?
Mhm.
So lots of caveats there when you're dealing with insurance. One of the things that I learned is I'm not smart enough to talk to them.
Mm.
Oh, wait, what? What did
Hmm.
you say, Patty? You're not? No, Patty, am not smart enough to talk to an insurance agent. Well, I could talk to an agent. I can't talk to an adjuster. You know why? They're worse than attorneys. There's the judge, the jury, and the executioner all in one. All in one. And if you say the wrong thing, they'll go, "Oh, so someone broke into your car and they stole," and I'm just giving you guys an example. They stole your stereo and your laptop and your badge for work. Well, because that's business related and you don't have a business insurance policy with us, we're not going to cover your laptop and that things. We're only covering the stereo and the window. And that's how an adjuster works. So I don't talk to adjusters ever. All I tell them is they called me on this day. Here's their name and phone number. Here's the restoration company that I called. It's their job to deny the claim. It's their job to find a reason to deny the claim. Okay. Remember that when you're dealing with an insurance adjuster. Keyword there. And they act like they're your best friend. Oh, they talk to you until you're blue in the face. Do not verbal vomit. Play stupid. Okay? They are worse than the executioner. Oh, you mentioned that the roof leaked. We're going to deny the entire claim. The roof leaked. That's preventative maintenance. That falls on you. Okay? You guys got to be careful when dealing with insurance companies. They are not a joke. They will find a way to deny you. It's their job. Okay. Any more questions? I know
Yeah.
there's more brain picking going on today for sure.
I
What do we
got-
got?
I have a question. You know, when you do the change of terms of tenancy, say, you know, then the next page is notice of change of terms of tenancy, proof of service. There it says 1 by delivering, 2 by leaving a copy.
There's 3 ways to serve a notice. One is personal service, one is post and mail, and the other one is subservice. I never recommend subservice. Don't use that way to serve somebody. It almost always is a nightmare. So you either want to walk up to them and personally hand it to them, that's personal service, or you tape a copy to their door and mail them a copy the same day that you taped it. That is considered post and mail.
Do you need to, do you need to
I only send something
put a
certified.
verified copy?
I know where this is headed. I only send something certified mail if I'm increasing rent or terminating tenancy. Because those are the 2 things I really want to prove I did. Make sense?
Okay,
You
so,
can get something from the post office called proof of mailing that
right,
would subside. It's less expensive than certified mail.
right. Well, certified mail, you got to have them sign and they won't sign.
They won't sign. So proof of mailing, I would do that on this request just because of what you're asking. And it's all hiding under the precedence of health and safety. You're welcome. The reason why you're asking for this upgrade is health and safety.
Okay, well, I did not send a notice of change in terms of tenancy. I sent a modification of the rental agreement where they were supposed to sign and they didn't sign. See, so
Never do a modification of the rental agreement because they'll never agree to it and they won't sign. Doing a 30-day change of terms of tenancy leaves you in control because they don't have to sign that.
okay. And if
What
they don't-
about email?
Email is not sufficient in the eyes of the court at this time.
But what if you did it before?
Right.
It doesn't matter if you did
It-
it yesterday or you do it tomorrow. The court doesn't see that you did that.
So it has to be all, what do you call it, by paper delivery? That's then.
Personal service or post and mail.
Oh, okay. Thank
There
you.
is subservice, but it never works out. It always comes out in court that you served a minor and then your whole case is bad. So subservice is always bad in my opinion.
What about even 24-hour notice to enter the property the same way, or?
For every legal document that you would serve,
Uh-huh.
post and mail or personal service are recognized as proper service but in the eyes of the court.
Even for a
okay.
24-hour, for an inspection, to go and inspect the property, you put it 24 hours. If you mail a copy, don't you post it at the door and you mail a copy, or can you just post it at the door?
If the 24-hour notice is the only notice with this exception, okay? If you post a 24-hour notice, you don't have to mail a copy within 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
I
Thanks.
have a question, Patty, and regarding
Yes.
rent increase, and you probably said it last week, but I was really sick, and I was sick for like
Honey,
3 weeks.
I'd rather answer 100 dumb questions than deal with a stupid problem. So you ask all the questions you want, okay?
Did the rent increase amount change the percentage for LA and LA County? And then for the other one that is LA, but is that area that, what is it called?
Larso,
Unincorporated or,
unincorporated.
yes.
Okay, so here's what I could tell you guys. And if you're not paying attention, pay attention, okay? What you're talking about is unincorporated LA County is known as the DCBA, the Department of Business and Consumer Affairs for LA County. DCBA. You have to have your property registered under them. Okay? With that said, everybody needs to understand in the very beginning when DCBA introduced themselves in 2019, they said, oh, you can register with us for free. We'll take your first registration for free. We'll get all your information. This is going to be a great program. And I said, watch yourself. It's going to be bait and switch. Huh? For anybody that has not been paying attention, the Department of Business and Consumer Affairs, which controls all of the unincorporated areas of Los Angeles County, is ran out of the same address on West Temple Street as LA City LARSO. What is Patty saying? City of Los Angeles and the DCBA are one.
No.
And your maximum rent increase for those areas is now what, 4%? Until the CPI changes in August?
Wow.
So
Okay.
total
I
is
have a
3%.
question.
4% total?
You're going to have to look it up on stayhousedla.org to see what that address says your maximum rent increase is.
Okay.
And somebody else had a question. Go.
Yeah, I have a question. This is Becca. So
What you got?
I have a renter who is a hoarder, and she has
You have a
it-
renter that's a pack rat.
that's a pack rat.
Put that in your head and don't use the H word again, okay?
Okay.
They're a pack
She's a-
rat because you're
she's a
not a
pack-
medical doctor and that's a diagnosis. So they're a
Oh.
pack rat until they get diagnosed, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
It's like
she's a
calling a
pack
hooker
rat.
a prostitute. Sorry. Sorry.
And she actually she owes rent from 2019, and then COVID happened. And so all the courts and stuff, we couldn't evict. And then she got help. So only a portion of that rent has been paid. And then when rent needed to start being paid again, she paid her lower amount before, like, we gave her rent increases. She's never paid a rent increase. And but the rent increase isn't enough, because I talked to a lawyer, and the rent increase isn't enough that I can evict her for a year, because they said, oh, you can only go back a year.
She's under the threshold amount.
What do you mean by that?
You're in LA City, correct?
Yes.
So you have something called threshold amount. And what it says is and I'm just throwing out a number, okay? So don't quote me to this. Somebody will yell at us if I'm wrong. But what it says is if you have a 2-bedroom property, you can't serve a 3-day notice until they're $2,266 behind. That's your threshold.
Right.
So until she owes that much money, you can't serve a notice.
Okay, so
Where's your vacuum? Go vacuum over there.
So what would
Take
I
the
do
vacuum. Look.
with?
Can you
if she
guys
owes
mute
over
yourself, please?
$27,000?
I'm gonna try to figure it out. I got it. Just let me find it and I'll figure it out. Hang on, guys.
Is that just for LA County and LA, or is that forever?
I think it's LA City.
Where's Jack's vacuum? I see a vacuum.
I fixed it, yes? Okay.
Whose vacuum is that?
I think you have to mute Rachel.
Yeah,
I'm trying.
Rachel, can you mute yourself, Rachel? Thank you.
I fixed it. Sorry, guys. I was trying. I'm not real good at it. All right. Go back to your question now. Squirrel.
So, yeah, so she is below the threshold for
Okay.
the year
So
mark.
you'll never be able to do anything until she owes more than the threshold amount. So let's talk about this really quick. She's not paying the increase because, come on, it's 4%. It's not enough. She won't be over the threshold within that 12-month period with that increase, will she?
Right. Correct. But
so you're going to have to wait till next year and
27,000.
increase again, right? And then she won't pay those increases. And until that increased amount is over threshold, you're dead in the water.
Even though she owes past due rent from 2019, like she owes over $27,000.
No, she doesn't, because you can only go back 12 months on a 3-day notice, according to California state law.
How can I collect that money then? If I don't want to, without evicting her, how do I collect that money?
You can sue her in small claims, get a money judgment against her, and then garnish her wages while she still lives in your house.
But that is only up to $10,000 or $12,000.
$12,500.
I thought you couldn't garnish wages anymore. They passed a law on that.
Well, they have to be over the median income, and nobody in LA is over the median income.
Okay, so if I, let's say, go after the 12,500.
Here's what I could tell you, okay? And this is me talking to you out loud. I'd start trying to talk about a negotiation for cash for keys, because under the precedence of LARSO, and somebody's going to yell at me if I say something wrong, trust and believe that, okay? Under the precedence of LARSO, in the event you need to offer relocation fees, you can deduct unpaid past due rents from the relocation amount.
Right. I tried to even offer her 50,000 to move. She's not.
Oh my God.
Can I ask you a question about that, Patty? So if somebody's paying rent, and say they're paying rent today, but they owe that money, 27,000, but they're paying a rent payment today, and they don't specify.
they're under the threshold amount, so we can't serve a notice to pay rent or quit.
No. But my question is, if they just give you a money order or a check and they don't specify that it's for January 2025 rent, can you just apply it to anything, or does it have to be applied to the month you're receiving it?
It has to be applied into the month that you're receiving it until October 1st of 2025. Do you want to know where Patty's pulling that from?
Yes.
During the COVID pandemic, it happened not on the first moratorium we got that shut everything down for 6 months. It happened on the second moratorium. And right now I can't see that assembly bill in my brain, but it's 3 numbers. I want to say it's 696 or 967. It's something like that. Okay. So the second assembly bill that came out during COVID put in there that we as landlords had to accept the money in the month that we received it. Any overages went to future rents unless they put in writing where that money was to be applied. So during the COVID pandemic, starting March 1st, 2020, I believe is how the statute reads. Shit. Hold on, you guys. I'm pulling it in my brain. March 1st, 2020 to October 1st, 2025, rent payments need to be allocated as recorded in the month that they received. Any overages for that month went to future months. If things wanted to be paid in the rears, the tenant had to put it in writing which months that was to cover.
So
Well, what happens after October?
Then we can go back to doing business our way. But
Meaning
until
that
then, right, where we could put it on the last past due amount. But let me tell you guys something, okay? Before October 1st of 2025, they'll change the law.
Of course they will. It's LA.
It's not that it's LA, it's California. I have no doubt there's somebody that makes more money than I do that is sitting there with a long laundry list of, okay, in order to make this snafu work, we need to make sure we stop this from happening on or before this date.
So what can I do with her as a pack rat?
A pack rat, you have a different set of facts. Now you're dealing with a health and safety issue. So I have all kinds of questions in regards to the pack rat. Paying attention?
Yes.
How bad is it? And please don't embellish with me. Do you have a smell?
Yes.
Okay. Are the windows blocked?
Yes.
Is there a 3-foot pathway in all the hallways to all areas of the property, a 3-foot pathway?
No.
Okay. So what you're telling me is for health and safety reasons, and I'm going to say this again, and then it's going to open a doorway for you, and you're going to go, yeah, I didn't even think about it that way. But you're right. And then there's all this other stuff. Okay. Could a fireman in a full dress suit carrying a body over his shoulder, that's why they require a 3-foot pathway, get somebody out of that house in the event of a crisis?
Probably not.
There's your loophole.
Okay.
Got it?
So
If they have doorways blocked, that's a problem. If they have windows blocked, that's a problem.
okay.
Okay? If they have CO2 detectors blocked, that's a problem. Paying attention yet?
Yes.
So we need to do an interior inspection with a different mindset because we're looking for health and safety problems that in the event of a fire, this tenant can't get out of here and I become liable unless I do something about it. I'm going to ask other questions. Is this a single family residence or a multifamily dwelling?
Multifamily dwelling.
How many units?
It's an 8-unit, but hers is a bungalow.
Is it attached or in any way to the rest of it?
No.
It's still health and safety on the property. If she were to have a fire, it's going to most likely spread with the amount of fuel that she has in the property.
Yeah, it's very close to other units. Like it's That's
With the
very
amount of
fortunate.
fuel that she has in that property, it would spread easily.
Okay.
Okay, so now you have a different way to approach, but you need to know something. You're going to have to find an attorney that you trust. What you're attacking is a mental disorder. No joke. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some ADA stuff there. I know if I was going to do an eviction for somebody based on a mental disorder, how I would play it up, because I would give them, and I'm just going to talk out loud. And let me say this full disclosure, okay? You need to come up with a plan with your legal counsel. And why I keep doing that as your and not me is because at the end of the day, it's your attorney that's going to be standing next to you in a courtroom and battling for you, not me. So it's
Right.
them that you need to come up with this plan with. But let me just give you an idea of a plan so we're on the same page, okay?
Okay.
I worked in a law firm, so I'm kind of cheating, but this is the bicuspids of what would happen. We would give them a 3-day cure or quit to clean up the property, and I wouldn't readdress it for 30 days. And then I'd serve another one 30 days later, giving a cure or quit and put on their second request. And I'd give an additional 30 days, even though the notice only requires that I do 3. And
Okay.
you said this was in Bakersfield, yes?
No, it's in the city of Los Angeles.
This is in city of Los Angeles. So you're going to have to find an attorney. You're probably going to have to do that 5 to 7 times before you say, okay, enough's enough, and start the
5,
eviction process. You're going to have to
basically
talk.
for 7 months.
And during this time, you're not accepting the rent either.
Okay.
Okay. And then after they don't comply with so many months, Patty, why so much time? Why? And this is where you got to work with your attorney. And they may tell you because it's city of LA, they don't want 30 days in between. They want 5. Does that make sense to you? I'm just giving you a program. But
Okay.
why they want to give more than what the notice requires, just so you understand, is when they get into court, they want to be able to say, yes, Your Honor, we understand this is overwhelming. That's why we gave them 7 months before we started the eviction, because now you look like a saint.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
Because you haven't been accepting rent. You know this is a health and safety issue. You're trying to protect the other residents in the building, in the community. You're trying to be a good landlord. But you need to come up with a plan like this with your legal counsel, where you're sitting them down, telling them how you want this to go. They're telling you, I've seen this happen in this courtroom. You're most likely going to go in front of this judge. This is the way they've ruled in the past. So I think we should go this direction. They're going to be your best friend to help point you the best way to go through this.
Got it. And is like she doesn't allow access into her unit. Like she'll say, "Oh, I'm not feeling well." Like almost for the past couple years, since COVID, she's used that excuse of, "I'm not feeling well. I'm sick. I would like to reschedule." And so but she never gives a date or anything like that.
Once the relationship is broken between landlord and tenant, a professional needs to fix the relationship for you, whether it be a professional property manager or a professional attorney or a professional judge. Once that relationship's broken, all you're going to do is make yourself sick because you're just spinning your own wheels.
Okay, so
I tell
reach
this
out.
to my clients all the time, and you'll look back at a situation and you'll laugh because you'll go, oh yeah, she makes that make so much sense. But yeah. Okay. So for those of us that have children, okay, owning investment property is a lot like parenting. Okay. You have a tenant in there, and the reality is the tenant wants to move out and move to New York to live with their boyfriend that they just met, but they have 6 months left on their lease. But they don't want to tell you that that's what the issue is. They'd rather tell you that there's a horrible noise from the ice maker and I just can't sleep at night. And after you send all the repairmen to chase that ghost, then there's another ghost you're chasing. And it takes a while for you to realize that you're chasing all these ghosts, spending all this time and money and getting nowhere. And the reality is, just ask the tenant if she's not happy living there anymore and see what she says. Because I guarantee you, it's not the ghosts you're chasing. But a lot of times we don't recognize these things because we're part of the equation. Okay. Once we get out of the equation, it's really easy for us to see, oh, yeah, that was like a total, I want to go to the movies, but dad said I had to ask you if it was okay. And then it was okay with him already, but I had to ask you first. So it's kind of like that whole manipulation thing is happening right in your investment property. And when you start looking at it in that light, it makes so much more sense to you. I mean, come on. I could tell my teenager, till they're blue in the face, they needed to clean their room. But until I took away or did whatever it is that they needed to do, I didn't get their attention, right? So it's kind of that kind of a relationship all over again. I don't know a nicer way to explain it, but once they don't hear us anymore, we need a professional or somebody else to come in so that they hear us clearly. So sometimes just hiring a new sheriff in town is enough to whip that tenant back into shape, believe it or not. Because then they're like, oh, they ain't playing. It's kind of like when I show up at their front door and go, hi, my name's Patty. I'm your new property manager. Just wanted to let you know I'm taking over. I have your security deposit, and I'm holding that in my trust fund account. I also want to know that you're to pay the rent to me from here going forward. We're also going to talk about your past due. So did you want to make payment on that, or how are we going to discuss that today?
Hey, Patty, I think you forgot to mention to get the code enforcement also involved to help her out.
No, David, I needed you to say that because I can't, because in City of LA, that would be retaliation, yes?
Code enforcement has come actually from her. And so they've seen the unit, and like there was nothing major to be fixed on my end. But I even asked them, like, hey, this living situation obviously isn't good. What do you think? And they were kind of like, oh, I've seen a lot of this, and it is very difficult to think it has to be like crazy. And I was like, this is very bad. And she keeps complaining of mold, which I've had 3 certified mold inspectors that I've paid for come out.
Okay, and what if the mold inspector said?
They didn't find any. There's
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. I'm going a different direction now. Did these
Okay.
mold inspectors also provide you with a cleanliness report?
They did kind of, yes.
Okay. And what does this third party professional have to say about the cleanliness of your property?
That it should be cleaned. I mean, even the City of LA people said, hey, you can't have things this close to the furnace. Like it has to be within 3 feet of it. It has to have that 3-foot clearance. So
I think that you're really going to find if you feed off of health and safety and it doesn't get cleaned up and it really truly is, that's where your teeth are, that's where your bread and butter is. But the reality of the situation is you're going to spend 60 to 80,000 to evict her and get her out because that is the magic number in that area.
A question, Becca, the code enforcement never gave you a ticket for this?
They gave me some things to correct, which I've corrected, and then there was like 1 or 2 things that she wouldn't let me in to correct, and they were aware that she kept denying entry, and then they closed the case. So they know how difficult of a tenant she is as well, actually.
I'd be talking to an attorney at this point, no joke.
I have been, that's the do you have anybody you would recommend? How about I start there?
Well, I have to be careful what I say. And now everybody that's in here is going to laugh. Patty's worked for all of them. That's not true either. Here's what I can tell you. They're all out for a paycheck.
Okay.
All of them. They all are out for a paycheck. Find one that you feel the most comfortable with. That answers your phone call when you call, that is getting your question answered, that fits within your financial budget. That's what I could tell you, because they're all the same way. I've worked at several firms. They're all about the money, and in all, they treat each and every one of us like a piece of cattle, because we're all in line to do the same process. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
There's no customer service there. If you need help understanding the process while you're going along, I'll help translate. I'll help you understand the process better. I don't give you advice on your own specific case. Does that make sense? I may
Yeah,
tell
that
you,
makes sense.
hey, ask your attorney this, and I'm planting a seed for you to see what they're going to tell you or how predominant that is. I also am the person that'll come to you and go, wait, what do you mean for the last 6 months, every time you went to the court hearing, they're just at a stalemate and continuing for another 30 days. I'm hearing that
Yes.
the court's just taking your money, and so's everybody else. So the property manager in me yells, stop banging your head against the wall, dismiss the case, reboot, reload, and start over. You're banging your head against the wall. You're going nowhere for 6 months. Stop. So I come in handy in various situations depending on the equation, but each and every one of your tenancies is a different equation. No two are the same. They're always different.
One more question.
One more
Are
question
you
costs $1, and I'm being funny. So you
are
guys
you
all know,
available to be hired?
you guys all know that thing of, hey, if I had $1 for every time somebody said, mine is one more question. So that's my $1. You owe me $1. All right, which question? Sorry.
I was just asking, are you available to be hired as property manager for the property? Or you're like, oh, that's a crazy headache tenant. I'd rather not.
Choosing my words carefully. Currently, I only manage property where my name is on title. Am I venturing off to start a management company with someone potentially? Yes. Is it in the works? Possibly. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to walk away from here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You guys are where I matter. If I managed property on the side when I wasn't helping you to help other people, I don't see that as a conflict as long as I'm not telling you, you have to sign up with me. I would never do that. I would still just help you. That's what I'm here for.
Patty, I get it's in the works. When would we know more about that? Like, when would it become official if you are going to go that route?
Do you want me to be straightforward, honest with you?
Yes.
It would take the market to crash.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everybody out there, or only half of you?
Only half of us.
Yeah, I was going to say only half of I was thinking the same thing too.
Explain
Okay,
more.
I'm gonna talk to you guys out loud, and I'm gonna tell you what my concerns are. Okay, so listen real close. Patty is a licensed real estate broker. Okay, I know what the law is. I know what the rules are. If I'm telling you guys to get out of an area because the rules suck, am I breaking the law? I am if I'm touching the money and making money off of your sale of your property. So I don't want any part of that. I just want to be transparent and tell you the truth. I don't want to touch the money. I don't want to be practicing real estate. I don't want my license hung somewhere so that somebody can't say, oh, Patty's making money and making you sell your property and she's making money off of it. That scares me. So the best thing Patty can do is just stand back and say, hey, I'm not making money anywhere with any real estate transaction. I just consult people and tell them the truth. That helps me keep my name, my reputation, and everything that I do on the up and up in legal. Make sense? The second I start managing property for profit, I have to stop telling the truth. Think about that.
So sad.
So for the time being, the only property I manage has my name on it. And it's for my own protection. But yeah, would it take the market to crash? Yeah, because then I'm not going to be telling you guys, get out of this area. This sucks. These rules are too much. You already know you're there. And if you're already in it and the market's crashed, the likelihood of you holding on is very high. You're going to keep holding on. And some of us want to stay in these areas. I still have something in the city of LA, you guys. City of LA. I do.
You're a brave woman.
Hey, the property's paid for. She's on Section 8. It's under the threshold amount and has been for the past 4 years. She doesn't pay her portion, but it's not enough for me to be over the threshold so that I can serve a 3-day.
Oh. Let me ask you, since
But let me say this. This property is paid for and Section 8 pays the majority of the rent. So I'm not losing every month. It's just irritating. And the reason I'm holding on to it is for a science experiment for all the rest of you. So I can say, look at me, I'm a bleeding landlord that hasn't been paid in 5 years now, almost 5 years on this property because it started the month after COVID. April of 2020, she stopped paying rent. Okay? April of 2020. Not a dime.
wow. But what happens?
Section 8's paying me their portion, but if I tell Section 8 that she's not paying hers, they'll just cancel everything and then I'll be forced to evict her.
Correct.
So that
Yeah.
doesn't make sense financially either. Not for the $112 a month she's not paying me.
But what if Section 8 stopped paying you
Then
because they're waiting on documentation for the tenant to renew their Section 8? Then I can
Section 8
evict, or do I
stops
need to
paying-
wait?
If Section 8 stops paying me, then the full amount is owed by who?
The tenant.
Okay, and now are they over threshold?
They are.
Then I'm serving a 3-day.
I'm calling Tiffany today. Evict,
Okay,
evict.
hold on. There's a couple of key things you need to keep. You have 2 caveats there you got to watch out for. One of them is if they're no longer on Section 8, you don't have to use a 30-day pay rent or quit subject to the CARES Act. You can go back to the 3-day.
3-day, yes.
If
Yeah.
you're on Section 8, you can't do a 3-day. It's a 30-day pay rent or quit.
Oh, I got to give her a 30-day, not a 3-day.
Section 8 has canceled her because she didn't do her stuff. She's no longer on Section 8. It's a 3-day.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that the Section 8 worker, the only thing I got from her is I requested other documents and I haven't determined if she's renewing or not. Thus, I'm in limbo. I haven't received money and Section 8 isn't giving me a written or verbal confirmation that she's no
So
longer
now
covered.
you're contacting their supervisor asking for a decision to be made so that you can move forward with collecting the past due rents.
I love you, Patty. I didn't think about that one.
Supervisor.
Supervisor.
And
Yeah,
you need
Section
it in,
8 doesn't move that fast. So,
you
okay.
need it in writing.
I know, and that's what I'm trying. I've been trying for like
How long?
a month with this
Okay,
lady.
so it's been over 30 days. This isn't financially feasible any further.
Correct.
I need your supervisor. I need something in writing. I need it by the end of this week.
Damn, I love you. Okay, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Sorry, people.
No, everybody learns together. Don't apologize. We're all a team.
Yeah, I
And Julia's going to give me something about my $112. Come on, girl. I know she is because she's that corporate property manager that knows what she's doing. Okay. $112 a month is a lot to lose. But being that you haven't collected it for that long, is she no responsible for the 112? No, she's completely responsible. I just can only go back 12 months on a 3-day pay rent or quit, and it has to be a 30-day pay rent or quit because she's on Section 8, right? But because it's in City of LA, I have threshold, and I'm under threshold. Look at it this way. It's a 4-bedroom house, and it has a duplex, so it's subject to LARSO. Got a duplex in City of LA, okay? It's a 4-bedroom. So what's her threshold amount? What? $3,600? And her Section 8 portion is $112? When will she be over threshold?
Yeah, never.
In the year 2045? And
Patty, a quick
threshold goes
question.
up every year? I mean, come on, you guys.
A quick question, Patty.
Yeah, go ahead.
The 30-day notice to pay or quit, you can do it yourself or you have to consult an attorney to do it for you?
No, you can do a 30-day notice to pay, rent, or quit yourself. It's called the CARES Act.
Yeah, but where do I get that form?
Dave, I'm giving it to you, baby. Just pay attention, okay? It's called a 30-day pay, rent, or quit subject to the CARES Act. CARES.
In that form, it must show what the CARES Act about, right? To the tenant.
Bingo, bingo, bingo.
So where do I get that?
Google.
I checked. I cannot find something like that, Patty.
AGLA.
Okay.
I was just
All
going to
right.
ask about AGLA. So AGLA,
AGLA.
we have
And
it.
then I'm going to go CAA, AACSC, SDCAA. I'm going to start giving you all the acronyms for all the apartment associations. And if they don't have a 30-day notice to pay, rent, or quit subject to the CARES Act, let me know, because I have no problem calling their president and asking them, hey, what are you doing? I'm here to help you.
It's usually 2 pages or more, or what?
It usually, hold on, David, and thank you for asking me. Hang on. Usually it's on a 1 page, but it could be on more than 1 page.
Can I see the mail? Oh, good.
One check.
Good.
Thank
Who's
you,
the other one you're
Patty.
missing?
I'm missing one. I got
All
one
right.
more.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yes, Patty. This
She's
is
a nice lady.
Yeah.
so basically I have also a person that accumulates excessive personal belongings. But every 6 months when I go there, she cleans up quite a bit. And this time she did an amazing job. I was very impressed. How do I encourage her or tell her, that I'm willing to give her 4 hours of a worker to help her clean up or maintain it?
Just that way. You could tell her that every month you're gonna do this as a bonus and help her. You could tell her as a courtesy you're doing it, and you're so happy and so pleased with the way that she did things. You want to do something nice for her, so you're gonna have the cleaner come back next month for 4 hours. See how easy I just made all that sound?
Okay, got it.
And how much excitement I put in there?
Well, it's exciting because everybody.
Oh, honey, I know.
When they pass by, it doesn't smell and all that, so it's wonderful. And how did this time happen? Is one of the tenants claimed that she's gonna call the health department, so I told her that, and she's afraid of health department.
Well, now you found out what she's afraid of. That's a good thing.
Right. Okay, thank you.
I'm excited for you. That's the best news I've heard all day. Because that one's been challenging, I know. All right, who else we got?
Do you have a checklist of things for property owners so that we can stay on top of, like, making sure the taxes are paid, making sure insurances are paid, just things like that that we should be doing as
Can I
property
ask you a
owners?
question?
Yes.
Do you manage property for profit, or you're just managing your own doors?
I manage my own doors. However, I do manage short-term rentals.
So you help someone with basically their Airbnbs?
Yeah.
Good answer. Okay. I like this because technically you don't have to be a licensed real estate agent because
I am licensed. I'm a licensed broker.
I'm talking, but you don't have to be if you're only doing Airbnbs for profit. Make sense?
Okay.
You only have to if you're doing permanent rentals for profit, and then you'd have to be under a broker.
Oh, okay.
Let me put it this way. Temporary lodging like hotels, motels, and Airbnbs are not considered a real estate transaction. They're considered the hotel industry. They fall under lodging law, not landlord tenant. Make sense?
Yes.
The things I know in my little brain. I'm sorry. All right. So let's go back to your question. What's your question?
Regarding a checklist or something like that of all the
Yes,
things that we
for
should be doing.
permanent rentals,
Yes.
even AGLA has a checklist for you. CAA has a checklist for you of what disclosures you should have in with your lease packet, and they are property specific. In other words, I have a multifamily dwelling that I own that has a pool, so there are pool rules and certain things in a lease packet for that specific property. So I build my packets property specific, and I can teach you how to do the same. A good checklist from your apartment association is a great way to start.
Okay, with like just knowing all the things I need to care for as an owner.
And I completely and totally understand. And you're actually going to help me build a checklist for you. Does that make sense? You're like, Patty, yes, it does. Send me an email. All right. And I see some other stuff coming in. Let me see. Could an owner, no problem. Could an owner start an eviction in a property located in the city of Los Angeles that has not been registered with the DCBA, city of LA? Belcy, it's either got to be registered with LARSO or the DCBA, or it is then considered not being under either. So if it's exempt from LA City and it is exempt from LARSO, but it's still in unincorporated Los Angeles County, then it would be under DCBA. And if it hasn't been registered with City of LA because it's exempt, or DCBA because it's exempt from that, then you could still do an eviction potentially, but you'd have to notify LAHD of the documentation within 3 days of you serving the tenant. Remember, if you're in the county of LA, if the city doesn't govern you, then the county does. And if you think the county doesn't govern you, you're sadly mistaken. So if the city doesn't govern you, unincorporated does. And if they don't govern you, LAHD does. Somebody governs you if you're in LA. How much of a rent increase can we do for the city of San Bernardino?
Patty, before you move to the next question, I apologize. So what happened if the owner has not registered the property in the city of Los Angeles or DCBA or Larkson or whatever? So she cannot start the eviction then?
She can't legally collect rent.
Oops.
They are going to back bill her for registration for every year she's owned the property before they're going to register her.
What about for a property in Downey? Where do I register? Do I need to register anywhere? Because I have registered. I have a property in the city of LA. I have another property, a duplex in the city of DCBA.
Okay.
And then I have some properties in Downey. So what would Downey be?
If you want to know where a property falls in the county of Los Angeles, so anywhere in the county, here's how you look it up. Everybody pay attention, okay? You go to stayhousedla.org. It's stay, S-T-A-Y, housed, H-O-U-S-E-D, L-A like Los Angeles, .org. Everybody there?
Yes, stayhousedla.org.
Uh-huh. Stayhousedla.org. When you go there, you need to know that I am sending you to a website that was built for tenants. Okay? You are going to the enemy right now. Okay? But I want to know what the enemy knows, and you should know what the enemy knows too. So with that being said, please know I'm not sending you somewhere that's a resource for landlords, okay? It is a resource for tenants. So don't get offended when they start talking about, do you have an eviction notice? We can help you, okay? Don't panic. I know I'm sending you to the enemy. Okay, so you're at stayhousedla.org. And on that website, there's something on that front page that says the eviction process. It's in black letters and it says the eviction process. Click on that. Click on that. It says the eviction process. So now you've clicked on that and there's a list of things, of questions there about evictions and things of that nature. I need you to scroll down until the background changes color. And it changed color from white to a yellow-green blend, okay? At that yellow-green blend, it says laws for your area. And right there, you can type in an address anywhere in LA County. Anywhere in LA County. And it will tell you what governs you, who controls you, who you have to report to, where you must register, and how much your maximum rent increase is. You're welcome.
Thank
Julia, outside of LA County, go and you guys, I helped build this, so don't laugh at me when I'm sending people there to utilize it, okay? Go to fastevict.com, law group, click on tools up in the corner, and click on AB 1482 rent calculator. It'll calculate your AB 1482 5% plus a CPI for you based on zip code. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Patty. And I'm on your website right now and it says 9.6. So is your calculator accurate or should I still go to the Fast Evict one?
My calculator is also accurate.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, so it's 9.6 then. Okay, thank you.
No problem. I just know where it is on FastEvict's website because I helped them build it and then put it there and then drove clients to it all the time. So my mind tells me to go there instead of my own thing. Sorry.
Patty, if state of California allows 8.6, but San Bernardino allows 9.6, which one governs here?
No, you're incorrect. You're missing something, okay? And David, thank you for pointing this out, okay? What you're saying is the county of Los Angeles says 8.6 or 8.8, and the county of San Bernardino says 9.6. Is that correct?
But the state of California also has a rent control.
That is 5% plus the CPI. And in LA County, that is 8 point whatever. And in San Bernardino County, that is 9.6. 5% plus the CPI.
Okay, what I'm asking, if San Bernardino says higher interest rent increase and California says no, it should be 1 point lower. So who should I listen to?
The part you're missing is you keep saying California. And California is telling San Bernardino County they can charge 5% plus the CPI, and that's 9.6.
Okay, you clarified. Thank you.
No problem. That's how the county gets that number. The state gives it to them. And it all falls under the CPI based on zip code. And I hope that answered all those questions. And I see something else here regarding this. Joanne, here we go. For the notice of change of terms of tenancy, is this okay? Tenants to upgrade the personal liability to $1 million to add Joanne Martin as interested party or additionally insured. As interested party or additionally insured on the policy. And that just gives you the rest of the verbiage, okay?
Patty, I have a question. I'm a little confused and I'm sorry. You said that for let's say 3% for the city or 4% for the city of LA. There's no CPI there that we can increase?
Sweetheart, if you're governed by the city of LA, the city of LA says all you can raise it is by the CPI, and that is currently at 4%.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. But
Very
yes,
sad.
some cities have rules that don't allow you to do 5% plus the CPI. They only allow you to do whatever. Baldwin Park's a bad one, okay? They're less than 4%. Less than. Never to exceed. More than 3%, I think, is how they wrote their rules and bylaws. It's bullshit. Sorry, I know some things I shouldn't say out loud. Okay,
Well, I
let me
remember I increased the rent for one of my tenants in Section 8 in the city of LA. And you know how there's once you get the license, the city says that the tenant can pay half of the amount of the license that you paid. But I
correct.
added that to the Section 8 and
It's
they
called
denied.
SCEP fees. SCEP, SCEP.
Yes, it's part of the license and stuff that they
Yes,
responsible.
it's
I think
part of your
half of it.
SCEP fees.
Yes.
And Section 8 denied it, but the city said you could charge it.
Well, when I did my license, when I submitted the license, they said the owner, the tenant is responsible for pay, so just charge them in increments of like $3 and something per month. So I added that to the lease, to the change of terms and conditions to do a rent increase. They denied it, and they didn't even process the 3%. So I had to wait another year to do it again, and it's coming up. So I have to do it by the beginning of February, that I have to increase her rent. But now I know not to add the 3% or the $3 and something.
Don't
Like,
add the $3.33 for SCEP fees, or Section 8's going to deny it because they're going to see it as being over the amount. You can still make the tenant pay that amount because it's SCEP fees. You don't have to disclose that to Section 8 and include it in your increase.
oh, I didn't know that. I thought that I had to send the same notice to tenant and Section 8. They had to be identical.
You can, but SCEP fees are given and they stay the same amount always. So you just include that verbiage in your lease and a notice isn't required.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. In the notice for what? For the tenant, not for Section 8.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
The notice of change of terms of tenancy, is this okay? Okay, we talked about that. Susan, the maximum rent increases for property in San Bernardino County from August 1st, 2024 to July 31st, 2025. There you go. It's 9.3%. There you go. You got it.
Patty, just an FYI on that, I'm on your website. It says 9.6, but Fast Evict says 9.3, like Susan said.
I'm emailing my web guy right now, telling him to update my rent calculator. So thank you guys for letting me know he hasn't updated it.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
No, you guys are my team. Thank you. Hang on. We're multitasking. Update AB 1482 rent increase calculator on my website. Okay, thank you guys. Handled. And then just so everybody knows, we have new criteria as sample on the website, just so everybody knows. And if you guys are trying to avoid third-party programs for move-in funds, you want to steal that verbiage. I believe what it says is third-party move-in funds will be accepted by federally funded programs only. Third-party move-in funds will be accepted from federally funded programs only. I'm going to do it one more time. Third-party move-in funds will be accepted from federally funded programs only. And that's how you guys get out of having to deal with Brilliant Corners and all those placement agencies that are trying to place a tenant into your property. You don't have to play along unless they're federally funded. Federally funded is Section 8 and VASH, Veterans Assistance Supplemental Housing.
Do you use that wording? Do you use that wording on your when you're advertising the property?
On your criteria, what it takes to rent from you.
Mm-hmm.
Move-in funds will be accepted from, or third-party move-in funds will be accepted from federally funded programs only. That way, you guys don't have to deal with Brilliant Corners and all those people that are taking homeless people and trying to shove them into your property.
Great,
The way
thank you.
Eat it. All right. Anybody have anything else?
Would you put
Yes,
that in
you
your
said-
listing? Would you put
said
that
last
verbiage in your
time
listing?
that
Hold on. I put that verbiage on my criteria.
Not in your listing.
So it's in order to rent from me, you must make 3 times the amount of the monthly rent, have no evictions. Any third party move in funds will be accepted from federally funded programs only. So it's telling Brilliant Corners and all of those other programs that are trying to place tenants, if they're not federally funded, to kick rocks with open toed shoes, because you don't have to play by their BS. And we don't want to play by their BS because it's a problem.
Right. I'm just wondering if you put it like in a Zillow listing
It's your criteria.
criteria.
So if you're putting your criteria on your Zillow listing, it is part of your criteria.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if too, it would help get rid of the fake fish, you know.
It's not gonna, they're still gonna insist, they're still gonna call you. What you're gonna say is, according to my business partner, we don't accept any third party funds for move-in unless they're federally funded.
Got it.
And why I'm saying my business partner is, that's me, okay? That's whoever you want it to be. They don't know who you're talking about. You make up whoever you want to, okay? After I talk to the rest of the family, because this isn't a family trust, the family has decided, so you're not the bad guy, it's somebody else, okay? After no problem, I'm here to help you guys. But after speaking with my business partner, we are no longer accepting third-party move-in funds unless it's federally funded. Why do I keep saying that? Because you're required to do that by law. So I'm giving you the verbiage you need to be in compliance with the law, because you have to accept federally funded move-in funds or third-party. If it's federally funded, you have to accept it. Have to. Okay, so I'm just trying to give you the verbiage so you can filter out the Craigslist. Hey, that's a great way to explain it, right? By saying, oh, this is good. Okay, you guys, by saying move-in funds will only be accepted from a third party that's federally funded, you're filtering out the Craigslist applicants. I hope that all makes sense to you guys. And if it doesn't, I'll reboot, reload, and we'll try again next Wednesday. Just so everybody knows, if you guys need me, I am headed to LA within the next 2 hours. I will be down there tomorrow. I have something going on midday, but if you need me, I will be in the general vicinity. Call me. I'm trying not to stay there for too many days. And hold on, I have something else. Julia, are you still on here? Because if you are, I may come by there today and drop off your bag on my way out of town.
Okay, sounds good.
You
Yeah.
may find it on your front porch.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Thanks, Patty.
No worries, no worries.
Patty, this places like a Brilliant Corners, they get money from where? From people's donation?
Yes. They're not federally funded. So that's somebody saying, we're going to help with homelessness. Here's this money and here's that money. So it's money that's being acquired that is not from the federal government. You are required by law to participate in the programs that are federally funded by the government. You are not required to participate in any programs that are not federally funded. So what I'm doing is giving you the loophole so you can filter out the crap that is getting shoved down your throat. We only accept third-party move-in funds from federally funded programs. If you're not federally funded, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay?
Okay, I have one quick question, and that is, you said
It's
way
another
back
$1. I'm
a
kidding.
month ago that if we could limit the number of people in a unit, if we
Yes.
did that on our listing,
Yes. So
I can say Maximum 5 people for a 3-bedroom.
Maximum occupants, 5 persons.
Okay.
It must be in your listing and in your lease contract and on your criteria to be enforceable.
Patty, on that same topic, what if there's 5 people when applying and the wife is pregnant and showing?
Children are a protected class in the state of California, so you got to be careful. But once they get over their occupancy limit, it's a different set of facts.
Okay, got it. So they would still, you would still have, you have no other choice but to let them apply, because technically it's 5 occupants or 5 persons applying, a family of 5.
And then within the first month of her having her baby, I'm going to go have a conversation with them of, hi, congratulations, welcome to the family. You're now over your occupancy limit, so are we going to be upgrading to a different unit? What are we going to be doing here because you're over your occupancy limit? You guys need to know that newborns are protected for the first 6 months of their life from a fair housing standpoint, and so's the mother that birthed them. Okay, so it would be a conversation I would have until they were 6 months old. At 7 months, I'd be doing something about it.
Thank you, Patty.
Any more questions?
And the city of Los Angeles has an occupancy limit on their website?
Are you asking me or telling me?
No, I'm asking.
No. Do you want me to tell you about occupancy so you understand?
Yes.
Okay. And for those of you that know this, I'm not going to do anything else today. I know we've gone over the hour. So if you already know about occupancy limits, I'm here if you need me. Call me. I'm going to be in LA tomorrow in the afternoon. In the morning, don't bother me. Please. Okay. Occupancy. State of California, not city of LA, not anywhere has an occupancy limit. Pay attention to me, okay?
Got it.
The state of California says that there can be no more than 9 persons for every 690 square feet.
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
The state of California has a building code that says that there cannot be any more than 9 persons for every 690 square feet.
9?
9. So what that says is they're gonna freaking put dressers over doors and block windows in order to house all these 9 people in the 690 square feet. It doesn't work for a fire. It doesn't work, okay? But that's what the law says. Now, you can implement an occupancy standard, but to be enforceable, an attorney has told me it must be in your advertisement, so in your criteria, what your maximum occupancy limit is. It must be in your criteria, your advertising, and in your lease contract that they sign and agree to. Maximum occupancy for this unit is 5 persons. If it's in those places and you've done that, then you should be able to enforce it in court. Okay? The industry standard is 2 per bedroom plus 1 on the couch, but that's not the law. It's the industry standard.
Patty, if it's 650 square feet, what does state of California says, for example?
8 people.
Got it.
You expected me to make some big production out of it? No, I made it simple. I mean, as ludicrous and as stupid as that sounded, that's probably how they'd fix the problem. Let's be honest. Okay? They'd just say it'd be 8. I'm just trying to let you guys know so you know what you're up against. And you got to be careful how you word it so that it doesn't come back and bite you. If you are renting a studio, please make sure you do not use the word single in your advertisement, in your speaking. In fact, I removed it from my vocabulary. Okay? Why do I keep saying this? Because if you have a studio apartment and you advertise that it's for singles only, are you discriminating?
Yes.
Yes.
If you do it for single occupants only, are you discriminating?
No.
You sure the hell are. You only want single occupants and not somebody that's married.
Yeah, discrimination.
Yep. Any way you throw it, if the word single's in there, it's discriminatory. Any way you say it. So remember, if it says single, it's discriminatory.
Yep. So
Maximum occupancy, one person. Did I break any rule?
No.
Did I discriminate?
Patty,
Yes.
what if you have a house? How many people can stay inside the house?
How many do you want there?
What if I have 5 on a lease?
Then that's up to you. Look at it this way. I had a 6-bedroom house that I sold in 2019 because I ended up living there all by myself. My mom died, all my kids grew up. I'm now in a 6-bedroom house, me and the dog. And I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm either going to sell this house or I'm going to rent it. But going to rental, okay? Going to a rental in a 6-bedroom, 3-bathroom house. What's the industry standard for occupancy? That'd be 13 adults. 13 adults in one house. I sold it. Industry standard is 2 per bedroom plus 1 on the couch. 6-bedroom house, that's 13 people. That's too many people for me. The maximum I lived in a 6-bedroom house was 7. Just saying.
And what about City of LA, Larso?
You guys are going to keep trying to get me of what does this city's, that there isn't one. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay.
There's the industry standard and California safety building code. That's it.
Okay.
So it's up to you to define how many people can be in that property, because if you don't, guess what? State law applies. We can try to argue the industry standard, but it's not the law. So when implementing tenancy restrictions, it must be done in the advertisement and at inception to be enforceable.
And criteria.
Correct. Any more questions about that? And now you understand why I get so frustrated with it, because when people ask me a question, they want a solid answer and I want to give it to you. But the reality is sometimes that answer isn't there. Because you're asking me, what's a maximum in the city of LA? There isn't one. There isn't one. Building and safety says 9 people for every 690 square feet. And let's be realistic. If you put 9 people in a studio apartment, and God knows there's some of those out there right now, they have dressers over the windows. There's not enough. They have bunk beds over the doors. I mean, let's be realistic. How do you put 9 people in 690 square feet? You're suspending them from the ceiling.
Patty, my understanding is, okay, there are 2 adults and 4 children. The children also counted as occupancy or just adults?
If you list it as maximum occupants, then you're not counting children and adults. And I'm trying to get you away from counting children and adults and just counting max occupants.
Oh, okay, now I got it.
Okay? Because it's children and adults where children are a protected class. They don't really count. But an occupant counts. So stop calling them children and you call them an occupant and you have more control.
Okay, what if I have an at least written persons? It's the same thing or different?
Persons or occupants.
I have
okay with that.
persons.
I just don't want the word single.
Oh, I don't have that.
Hey, there's a couple of words that just suck. Single is one of them, and playing is another one. Playing and children they're just words you don't want in your vocabulary. They will bite you really hard.
Okay. What if, for example, you had a lease like about 5 years ago, you made a lease and it says children. Can you change it now or just leave it the way the lease is?
You can leave it the way it is. You can change it. Here's what I get asked a lot, okay? And I get
Please.
asked this a lot, okay? Where that's going to become a problem and where it's going to become an issue is when you end up in a court battle later down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not going to be today. It's going to be something else, and the attorney's going to see it on the other side, and they're going to pull it and grab a hold of it and run with it. If you didn't, and I'm going to use this as an example because this happened on January 1st. It is now the law. We can no longer charge tenants for serving notices. Okay. We used to see that. You'll be charged $75 if I have to serve you a 3-day notice. We would see that in the lease. We can no longer charge a tenant for serving a notice.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay if that verbiage is in your lease. Where you're going to get in trouble is when you charge it.
Oh, okay. I got it.
If you're not enforcing it, how can you get in trouble?
You cannot if you don't.
Bingo! So that's what I'm going to tell you. Where it's going to become an issue is when you get involved in litigation years from now. So in the event you're changing the lease next year, just make sure that you remove that. I have a note on my computer for each one of my properties, and it says lease changes. And what that note is for is to remind me when I'm ready to change the lease what we're changing.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Okay, so just make yourself a note that says lease changes for each one of your properties. That's the way when it comes time to do a lease renewal or change the lease, you're changing everything you thought about, not just that one thing that was driving you crazy.
But after 5 years, can you change the lease or just do it month to month?
You can have a month to month, or some municipalities require that your tenants are on a 1-year contract. Some municipalities do not, so it depends on where you're at.
I am in Tarzana. I don't think so because I'm not under.
City of Santa Monica requires a 1-year lease and renewable by 1 year thereafter. Larso requires 1 year at Hello, and then it can go to month. I don't know what City of Tarzana's restrictions are. You'd have to look it up on stayhousedla.org because that's how I do it.
Okay. And when I go to stay.org, where do I look? What do I scroll down to? Which, because there's so many different criterias over there that I get lost. I don't know where to go exactly.
Go to stayhousedla.org, and then you want to click where in black letters it says the eviction process.
Oh, okay.
You click that, and then you're going to scroll down until the background changes color. It's white when you first get there, and then it changes to yellow green, and it says laws for your area. That's where you type in the property address.
Oh, okay. What you said that before. I have that. Okay.
No problem.
Thank you. No, I thought it would be different because you said before for eviction was 1, and I thought for other stuff would be something else because there's so many criterias on LA. What do you call it? LA.
Apparently, I have family that's being evacuated out of their houses in Pasadena.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just got a text message, and I usually don't answer text messages while I'm live with you guys, but because of the fire, I thought I might have a look. I'm sorry I looked.
What is happening?
I'm sorry I looked. All right, I gotta check on my family, you guys. If anybody needs anything, call me. I'm here for you.
So much, and everybody stay safe.
Everybody stay safe. And if anybody needs to run, call me. I'll help point you in the right direction. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.